very good morning and welcome along. It is a Saturday morning in the wonderful Tron again, but overcast, a bit murky outside. Only problem is it's never murky enough to stop him from getting across the toll gate from Matamata and coming into Hamilton. Morning, Christopher. How are we?
Good morning, Mintie. Yeah, very good. Thank you this morning, mate. Good morning to everybody out there in the beautiful Waikato. It's great to have you on board this morning. And,
how's life in Matamata?
Very nice. Such a nice town. They named it twice. It's very good.
They named you once. That was more than
We're
once
hoping
enough.
for some rain, of course, Mintie. It's been very dry, and of course, that's affecting the rivers and streams around the place as well. But people are getting out and enjoying that. Rivers are very low, very clear around the district, and of course, a guy came in and, well, several people in the last week, where do we fish around Matamata and that sort of place? And I said, look, mate, basically, and we're so blessed, every stream around Matamata's got trout in it. So, you can literally go out, virtually drive in any direction from Matamata. If you come across a stream, cast a spinner and you're likely to catch a trout. So we're very blessed in that. And of course, in town here, how many times have we said on the show about the beautiful Waikato running through Hamilton?
People don't fish it, eh?
Mate, you can go for a walk right, and my son often goes for a run along the lake edge and that sort of thing, the river edge, and you never see anyone fishing. It's incredible.
There's trout there.
Absolutely.
Got to say big ups to Rob Ganell too from up at Tikwater. He sent me a text, went out yesterday, the Mussel Farms, jack mackerel for bait, got a 5 kg snapper. He said, binned up real quick. The fishing is insane up there still, eh?
And on the note of the pelagic fish and that sort of thing, I had a guy call on yesterday. He wants to be nameless. He's very, very secretive guy. Big Steve is from Tiara. Oh, sorry, mate. His mate.
It's not Steve from Tiara.
His mate went out and they caught, I think, 3 marlin since last weekend. In the past week, up to 156 kg stripey.
Serious?
Inside Mere Island between sort of Honeymoon Bay and Wangmata. So, yeah, very, very nice fish being caught there. So, very good. Hey, look, over the next hour, we're going to take you all around the countryside and catch up with some different skippers. Talk to the Shimano boys, of course, and ourselves at Sportsworld there. We have a beautiful rod and reel up for the grab for April.
What am I winning?
It's a Torium 20. I think you've got one of those.
Mine's 16.
Oh, yours is not very big, no.
Can I win it this month?
No, I'm sorry. But
you can't win the
put
watch.
Put your name down, though, and we'll see what we can do.
You're not going to get the watch,
I realise that. Hey, and the Shadow X rod. Now, this is a Shimano combo that is just a beautiful all-rounder. You can bottom fish with it, you could cast with it, you could stray line with it, everything. It's worth $550. So anyone calls in during the month of April can be in the draw for that. Easy way, give us a call. There's 3 ways. 07 834 1296. You can text me 0274 728 674, and of course they can email you.
You've done really well remembering those 2 numbers at your age. Yeah, Waikato Sport at newstalkzb.co.nz, or get on our Facebook page, Waikato All Sports Breakfast. Send us messages anytime during the week and I'll pick you up to put you in the draw for that. And of course, the Olympic Divers Watch from Michael and the team at Dinsdale Jewellers. Great place, been down there if you wanted a bit of shopping, get yourself out of a bit of trouble.
And I'd just like to mention, mate, and I'd like to dedicate the show this morning to a man from Matamata that passed away on the weekend, Harry Fort. Very well-known guy, a painter, a fisherman extraordinaire, and that's why I mention it, his son Kane and family. Very, very sad. Passed away in his sleep on Sunday evening up at in the Coromandel region. In his beloved caravan, and just a very sad event. Only 58 years old, so we got his funeral on Monday. So, past president of the Matamata Fishing Club and that sort of thing. So, rest in peace, Harry, and I hope you get some good fishing in up there, mate.
Yeah, look, it's been a week for it, eh? Because on the same token, one of our staff here at NZ Mead passed away this week. Kieran, who looks after all my stuff here, all the recordings I do, everything that I put up on Facebook. She MP3s those, been around here for even a day, and
a young lady.
Yeah, pretty tough old week around the station this week. So, Kieran, I went down and visited yesterday, which is cool. But Mike, our thoughts and everything are with you and the rest of the team here. It's it sucks a bit sometimes to have this sort of thing.
Saturdays are for talking sports. The All Sport Breakfast with Peter Kelly of Bailey's Real Estate. Trust a proven performer. Newstalk ZB.
And you're with the Fishing Show on Newstalk ZB. Great to have you on board with us this morning. Thanks for being with us for the next hour. We're going to talk fishing all around the countryside. Let's have a look at the forecast for you. If you're venturing out on the briny today, the Culver region, we have a northeasterly rising to 25 knots for a time this morning until the evening. Sea becoming rough, long period of easterly swell rising up to 2 metres. A few showers turning to rain in the morning with poor visibility. Sunday morning becoming variable at 10 knots in the morning, rough sea easing and a moderate northeast swell easing. Monday morning, variable 10 knots, back to work, yes, wouldn't you know it. Tuesday, a westerly of developing and rising up to 25 knots with the sea becoming rough. The Bay of Plenty today, we have a northeasterly of 15 knots, rising to 25 knots this afternoon. Sea becoming rough, long period with an easterly swell rising to 2 metres offshore. A few showers turning to rain in the evening with poor visibility. Sunday morning, we have a northerly of easing back to 15 knots and then back to variable of 10 knots in the evening. A rough sea easing, a moderate northeast swell easing. Monday morning, we have a northerly of 15 knots developing early. Tuesday, turning westerly of 25 knots, sea becoming rough. The mighty west coast today, we have a northeasterly of 35 knots, easing back to a northerly of 20 knots this evening. Sea becoming rough, but it's easing back. A long period and a 1 metre swell. A northwest swell rising to 3 metres for a time though. Showers turning to rain this morning with poor visibility. Sunday becoming variable 10 knots in the afternoon, a moderate northwest swell easing back. Monday morning, northerly of 15 knots developing early, a southwest swell becoming moderate. Tuesday, rising to the old westerly of 30 knots, sea becoming rough with a moderate southwest swell. Well, I hope that's got you out of bed or enthused. Let's head up to the beautiful Coromandel region now and catch up with the young fella up there, young Daryl. Good morning, my friend.
Jeez, if that's got you out of bed, buddy, I think you should get back in it because it doesn't look very nice outside today, although I've got my good crew of skippers out there doing it for me today. We're a bit lucky up here. We've got northeast, of course. It is meant to get up to 30, gusting 40 by midday, so we have cancelled the afternoon trips, but we've managed to sneak out this morning. The rain's holding off at the moment, Bungee. We've had a few showers through the morning, but yeah, no doubt there's more coming. I've had a look at the rain radar. There's a bit coming down, so looks like a bit of a yuck day, and I think if you're planning on going fishing, probably not a good idea, and wait till tomorrow. It looks like all this weather's going to go through, and tomorrow looks like a fantastic day, so that would be the plan, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You talk about going back to bed and all that sort of thing. I mean, not everybody's blessed with a lovely wife like you got, mate. Some guys would prefer to go fishing, to be fair, but and some wives probably like to go fishing rather than spend time with their husbands as well.
His wife would prefer he did too.
Yeah, I thought that.
Hey, keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. The thing is, you've missed the tide this morning. We had a high tide at 6 o'clock this morning, so they're going to get the outgoing tide now, and that's been fishing okay, but if you wanted a bit of a fish before the weather gets real scruffy this afternoon, low tide around midday, so they could fish that sort of last hour or so going out, and then the rise of the tide and still be back in before the worst of it hits, maybe, if they're keen.
Yeah, you'd have to be keen, take a raincoat, and tell you what, it's doable. You'd have to stick in close to the shore. We're a bit lucky up here northeast. You can stay close to the shore, and it's going to be pretty flat. So, yeah, it's certainly doable, but like you say, Bungee, you'd have to be pretty keen. And I'd wait until tomorrow. The forecast tomorrow looks fabulous.
Yeah.
And then you've got the early tide in the morning. You've got a high tide about 6:45 tomorrow. You get up for that one, get the turn to the tide in the morning, and you'd be much more comfortable, I think.
What's people's expectations? I mean, we've got a new moon on Monday, so we're going to have reasonably big tides, but not as big as the full moon at this time of the year, but still a bit of a tide flow. So even if they are forced to fish in quite close, Daryl, there will be a bit of current, a bit of movement, so they can get that burley going and hopefully do okay. But since we last spoke last weekend, I understand certainly people calling into my shop. The fishing's been quite good this week. Yeah,
certainly no shortage of fish, Bungee. We've even had a 20-pounder over the scale, so
nice.
Some good ones out there as well. But, March, April, May, you'd expect, plenty of good fish to be around, and that is the case at the moment. And like you say, the tides, they're not big, they're not small, they're sort of medium, so there is a bit of movement there. Kingies, Kawai, there's trevally around, there's plenty of fish out there. Certainly no reason why you shouldn't be going home with a feed for the dinner table.
We were just talking last night in the back of the shop over a couple of medicinal Coca-Colas that it's incredible how over the years things have changed up there. Years ago, the biggest bleat used to be sort of all the little wee ones, that people were putting up with and all that sort of thing. Now the biggest moan, if you like, and which is a good moan to have, is when they come back from the Coromandel and visit those mussel farms, is the amount of times they get literally blown away by big snapper and hauling them into the ropes and stuff like that. It's just becoming better and better.
Yeah, that's right. It's a regular occurrence now, and good to see this 20-pounder we got earlier in the week actually went back in the water, so that was nice to see. The guys were getting plenty of fish. Took the obligatory photos and put the big boy back, so always good to see those big ones go back. They're not the best eating, and they are our good breeding fish, so keep that in mind too.
Good on you, mate. You have a great day, my friend, and enjoy yourself, and look after that lovely wife of yours, eh?
Will do, not a problem. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Good on you, mate. Right, let's head from one coast to the t'other, and we're going to head over to the beautiful west coast now and catch up with Wade Penny over there. I'm not sure if he will be out there today. I think he might be having a day sort of just looking after the family. Good morning, my friend.
Yeah, morning, Chris.
Yes, what's excuse me, what's the plan of attack today, my friend?
I'm having a day off. The boys are taking the Clansmen out today, so
okay.
Clayton's running it out, and Lawrence. No, I had a few people a bit worried about the weather, so we had a couple of boats pull out this weekend.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be okay. Well, there's a bit of a groundswell coming through, and it was quite interesting last weekend. I'm not sure what happened or why it happened, but I see a boat turned over on the Raglan Bar last weekend. So, always sort of makes people a bit twitchy and just makes them err on the side of caution, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't. Someone did tell me about Raglan last weekend, but to be fair, it wasn't much swell out there. But I don't know. Something must have gone wrong, maybe.
Yeah.
But we got more easterlies today, so theoretically, it should be pretty good around the coast. A bit of swell coming in later on this afternoon, I think. So, but the tides aren't too bad, so they should be all right.
Yeah, mate, last time we spoke, you were doing some quite nice fishing off Aotea, there's a reef out there as well on about 21 metres of water and that sort of thing. Since we last spoke, how's the days on the water been treating you?
Yeah, we had a bit of a scruffy week this week. We haven't done a lot, but Clayton had the boat out yesterday. Clayton and Lawrence had the goose out yesterday, and now they had a big crew on, and they loaded them up just 40 metres off Aotea again. So, still plenty of fish in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 40 metres are obviously outside the reef there, because I think the reef there comes up to about 21 or something, isn't it, or something like that? But you can, I'm not sure what sort of depth of water it's sitting in and what it comes up to, but this time of the year too, if they get positioned right, they can sort of do back to the old legendary East Coast straylining type scenario and pick up some good fish.
Yeah, so Aotea Reef is in about 20 metres water, and it comes up to, it actually breaks the surface, so if you don't know where it is on a when there's a bit of swell and low tide, you got to watch you don't run it over. It's a bit of a. I have looked over the side years ago on the Dove, and geez, I thought we're only in about a metre of water here. But keep an eye out for it. But if the snapper off Aotea, there should be plenty on the reef as well. It's just usually if they're in that area, there's plenty around the reef. And this time of the year, I know we went there before lockdown last year. The day before lockdown, and the snapper on there was unreal. So, and we didn't even have a sinker on the traces either. We just, as soon as the bait went out of sight, the fish were on, and they were good fish too. So, well worth a look this time of the year.
Absolutely, mate. And just quickly, Wade, on the pelagic fish, there's a few skippies I understand out there showing up in quite good numbers and that sort of thing. And the game fish, I would have thought, would still be around.
Yeah, they should be, but I think a lot of people have, as usual, put their rods away. We've had a bit of a, weather's not the same as what we were getting. We've had a bit of a change out here, so there hasn't been many people out doing it, and I don't think there's going to be a lot out this week. We've got a fairly scruffy week coming ahead of us too, so today and tomorrow is probably the only sort of slightly workable weather, and then Monday's not looking too bad, and then I think it's turning to custard for a few days. Yeah,
mate. All right, my friend, you have a great day, and look after that family, and we'll sure talk to you again next week.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Good on you, mate. Well, there are, the old West Coast. Well, the guys are heading out this morning, but I'd be a wee bit careful if you're in a trailer boat, that's for sure. We don't want any more accidents out there. Hey, look, if you want to get in the draw for this beautiful rod and reel from Shimano and Sportsworld, it's a Torium 20 high-speed reel, 6.2 to 1 gear ratio on it. It's on a beautiful Shadow X rod, which is a high modulus graphite rod. Very, very nice. Even Mintie could catch fish with this rod and reel, I reckon. That's how good it is.
I can catch fish with a hand line.
Oh, I've seen that.
Come on now.
You haven't thought about
we're trying to impress the promotions manager
That's
of
right.
NZ Mead, that Mark's sitting in the corner.
You can also get in the draw for a beautiful watch from Dinsdale Jewellers. Now, the way to do that is give us a call on 07 834 1296. You can text me 0274 728 674, and of course, Mintie, they can email you.
Yeah, they can. Waikato Sport at newstalkzb.co.nz, or get on our Facebook page, Waikato All Sports Breakfast. Send us a message. Put some photos up of your fish. There's quite a few people now sending photos of their fish, what they've been doing. It's really cool stuff, and we'll share that all around. And then after the show today, about 10 in the morning, by the time we finish that, I've recorded the show, and I'll put both of those up on the Facebook page too if you want to catch up as two different shows, so you can catch up with those. I've got to say hello to Mark Everson. He's promotions manager. I think is that the correct knowledge?
Yeah, morning, something like that.
Yeah, promotions manager. Yeah. So he's coming to see what we're doing, and we've got to lift our game, do we?
I'm busy working on a nickname for him.
Are you?
I woke up this morning. And you've got
no.
a nickname. Mintie's got a nickname. I need one now.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, some of them I'm just thinking we can't repeat. 7:28.
Nate.
Well, it's time to head down to a bit of fresh water, of course, and what a beautiful place to go and cast a line or two would be down in the Taupo region. And, of course, our man down there, ex-guide, legendary retailer, very knowledgeable chap, and I won't mention that he's a Warriors fan as well. But anyway, good morning, young Ken Duncan.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. No, we won't talk about that. I guess they're entitled to one bad game every year, and I think that hopefully that was it last night.
Let's hope so, my friend. Look, a bit of precipitation around today. Well, hopefully there will be for the farming fraternity around the place, mate. We certainly could do with some rain. The rivers at the moment, though, albeit if we don't get any heavy rain over the next few hours, are going to be fairly low and clear for the weekend, I would have thought.
It's looking pretty good. We had quite a lot of rain. The rain woke me up around about 3:30 last night, and it was quite steady, and it's still going now as we speak. It's misty drizzle, a little bit of wind coming across. So as I say, it's on its way. Checked the river flows this morning, and the TT's come up a little bit. Certainly not a lot. It's still just over about 0.14 of a metre, but coming up a little bit. And the upper Tongariro, the Waipaki River, which they monitor as well, it's indicating that it's gone up a little bit since yesterday. So again, the water's coming, so it's got to be good for the fishing. The river mouth fishing's been quite good. We've had a bit of a moon overnight and clear nights, and it makes it a little bit harder. But as I say, the river mouths are indicating there's been a few fish starting to line up there, so that shows that the rainbow runs are starting to go. And of course, we've still got the brown trout up the rivers at the moment as well. So a little bit extra flow is certainly not going to help. It's going to hurt, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And next week, like Monday's a new moon, so there'll be no moon to them to worry about. And I think the rivermouth fishing, after a little bit of extra water flow and that too, should be quite good. And if there is rainbows sitting out there in a moment, a little bit of extra water flow just might trigger them to come in as well. So next week on the rivers and streams should be quite good as well.
Exactly. We could get some of those early... I mean, let's face it, it's early days yet. I mean, we were still getting sporting trout coming into December last year. So this year, I mean, hopefully they'll go a bit earlier and we'll get a little bit more early in the season. But in the old days, we used to think, sort of May, you're looking at the main runs of trout coming through. Now we're always talking about August, September. So the seasons just seem to be getting, or the runs seem to be getting a little bit later. But having said that, there's still fish there. The browns are in the rivers, and as I say, you can have plenty of opportunity to target them, and there'll be rainbows moving through from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. Out on the lake last time we spoke, it was a little bit patchy, to be fair. The early morning harling was still going okay, but we'd talk about a bit of a pattern breaking up. That thermocline level will probably be starting to change a wee bit now with the cooler temperatures and that sort of thing, albeit... as I said, early morning harling still worth getting out of bed, and the deep trolling was just a little bit patchy. What's it been like since we last spoke?
Pretty much the same. Talking to one of the charter boat skippers, he was catching fish on his downriggers around the 130-foot mark, so quite deep down, so obviously the fish were still there. But like you said, some of the places that he would normally fish, he'd normally fish around the Whoriwaka, the reef out there. Places like that have gone well. It seems to be a little bit further away from the bay of Taupo. Seems to be going well. Round by the rock carvings and into Mine Bay have been going quite well. Lead line depth, again, like I said, but people have been getting fish in that 50-foot mark with their lead lines. So, as I say, it's a little bit of a lottery at the moment. Other people have been saying they've been going out and fishing quite hard, not really getting anything at all. So, as I say, if that's happening, what I'd do is move. Go somewhere different, try a few more things, start thinking a bit outside the square. I know the Western Bays, which is probably going to be a bit scruffy on the day-to-day with a bit of wind and that sort of thing, but down the Western Bays has certainly been fishing well, and I think that might indicate that there hasn't been a hell of a lot of pressure down there. The fish are really, still really going well. So if you can put up with the bouncing around a bit and get down that way, then it'd be well worth the effort.
Good as gold, my friend. Thinking outside the square. That's what it's all about. I've got a guy opposite me that lives outside the square most of the time, but we won't worry about that too much, mate. You have a great day, my friend, and we shall talk to you again next week.
We certainly will. Cheers, guys.
Good on you, mate. There are Ken Duncan from the beautiful Taupo region. Give us a call, 07 834 1296. That'll get you in the draw for that beautiful Shimano rod and reel combo. And, of course, the watch from Dinsdale Jewellers. You can text me through as well, as Bruce Andrew has from Matamata, 0274 728 674. And, of course, Mintie, they can email you and Facebook you.
They can. Waikato Sport at newstalkzb.co.nz, or get on our Facebook page, Waikato All Sports Breakfast, and send us a message or a photo. Just had Jack ring into that boat, took a wave head on, and then tried to turn in the middle of the bar.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you're with the Fishing Show on Newstalk ZB. It's always a pleasure to head off down to the beautiful Rota Vegas region and catch up with the young fella down there from the Trout Connection, of course, is young Glenn Skinner. Good morning, my friend.
Morning, Bungie.
Oh, I just hear Mintie wants you to teach him how to tickle an old trout. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, true. I just got to check to see what time the Sits Club opens.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what's been happening down there? The weather's a little bit scruffy. Just talked to Ken down there in the Taupo region, mate, and yeah, a little bit of precipitation. It's been raining there quite steadily since about 3 in the morning. In Hamilton here, we have very little. The road's hardly even damp. So, what's it like in the Rota Vegas area at the moment?
We kind of had the same thing earlier on. It was hosing down a wee bit, but it's kind of eased back a wee bit. We're just heading out now to Rotowedi for the combined clubs tournament this weekend. So we've got 2 days with the Rotorua Club, CT Club. There's no one from the RSA and of course the Sits Club, so we've got quite a few anglers, although some are going to take it easy today and give a bit of a pump tomorrow. It's forecasted a little bit better, but of course our team are raring to go.
Oh, abs they are, mate. I mean, absolute legends and men of steel and all that sort of thing. The thing is that you've already answered one question for me, and that is you've told me you're heading to Rotowedi, so obviously you think that's your best chance of a good hit.
Yep, for sure. It's going to be a little bit tough today if the wind gets up to what it is predicted. You know, around that 15-knot mark is going to be a little bit tricky in the Waiheke area, but we'll obviously be having a look at the northern shores and having a look at the different structures out there too. There are a couple that tomorrow are going to Okutai. There's been some recent activity out there, so that would sort of bring in the last 3 months about 6 or 7 fish over 4 kg that I'm aware of that have come from there. So there's a few heading out there, including Pat Swift. So he's been doing a bit of work out there too. So,
yeah, funnily, I just jotted down here. Well, yeah, I'd hate Pat to be on his own on Okataina, so you answered my question on that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those areas have been fishing pretty well, but I mean we're going to be working pretty hard to do that today. So we're going to explore all the northern structures, maybe do a bit of harling and deep trolling and stuff if it gets too windy, but. Obviously tomorrow we'll be back into that other spot to have a bit of a ping in there. That's been going very, very well.
What about the thermocline level, Glenn? Is that starting to break up now?
Yeah, no, it's easing back big time. It's sort of a spread from the bottom right to the surface, so pretty much all techniques have been working pretty well. The early morning harling and late afternoon, early evening harling has been pretty good. Mid-range and deep trolling have been good. And if you can get into the spots that are working, like the Waiheke, then you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's likely too that a good fish will be picked up on Rotorua. I think the stream mouths going into there at the moment are starting to, well, they're breaking up a wee bit. They're holding some quite nice fishes here, particularly the good old nongi.
For sure. It's actually there that we need a bit of a fresh like we've got at the moment. You know, there's rain coming through because. The Nongsar is really low and moving very, very slowly, so it's quite tricky, particularly nymphing, and there's not really a lot of dry fly activity.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to get a bit more water flowing through there for sure.
Yeah, mate, yeah. All right, well, look, good luck, eh? I know obviously those guys in the truck with you are very intelligent. They've chosen a very good guide, and no doubt they'll do quite well, mate.
I think they might have overheard that, Bunchy. Yeah. They're all laughing.
Oh, true. All right, mate, well, you have a great day, and if you find an old trout for Mintie, let us know, eh?
Awesome. Thanks, Bunch. Have a good week.
All right, mate. Have a great day, my friend. All right, there we are. Glenn Skinner from the Trout Connection in Rota Vegas. If you want to get out on the water with somebody with a good sense of humour and just a good bloke to get out there with and really knows those lakes like the proverbial back of his hand, Glenn Skinner's your man. He's a great bloke. Hey, look, when we come back, we're going to catch up with 2 very, very good old salty dogs, Rick Pollock and John Elwood.
The weekend's finally here. And it starts now. It's the All Sport Breakfast with Peter Kelly of Bailey's Real Estate. Trust a proven performer. Newstalk ZB.
And in just a moment, we're going to talk to Rick Pollock, who's back from, he's up and been in the Three Kings for 4 days, the lucky gentleman. And, yeah, absolutely. Quick look at the tides for you today. On the East Coast, we got a high tide, has been this morning at 5:57am. It's high again this evening, 6:22pm, right on that change of light. Low tide today around midday, 1.8 metre tide. On the West Coast, a high tide at 12 minutes past 9 this morning, high again at 9:37pm this evening. A low tide, 3:14pm this afternoon. Quite big tides, a new moon on Monday. A man who's come back to Earth, or back to civilization, if you like, after 4 beautiful days up at the Three Kings, is my man who talks about the Eastern Bay of Plenty. Why wouldn't he? He's cut his teeth there for years, is Rick Pollock. Good morning, my friend.
Yeah, good morning, Bunch. How are you doing today, buddy?
Oh, well, very jealous, of course. Always very envious of somebody who heads up to the beautiful Three King region. How did it treat you, my friend?
Well, there is some fabulous fishing up there at the moment, Bunch.
Really?
I don't know if it's the best of the season, but if it isn't, it's pretty close.
Wow.
And not only is it good fishing, but the diversification is something which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I always like to have the ability to catch a number of fish. I mean, it's great to get all striped marlin or all mahi-mahi or all tuna. That's all great. However, it's to not really quite know what you're going to do, like we get in the saltwater, is something that really piques my interest, and it's exactly what's happening up there right now.
Yep.
Certainly, striped marlin features heavily, and usually will, but there's some lovely tuna up there, and little ones too. There was a 300-kilo black marlin tagged by a 22-year-old girl.
Nice.
There were a number of blue marlin, and most of them were nice fish of around the 200-kilo mark. Stripies of all different sizes, from 80 up to about 150 kilos. And like I said, tuna, some lovely tuna. The biggest one was 83 kilos, but there were at least 4 others that I know of around about the 70-kilo mark. So it's been some phenomenal fishing, and that's not just at the Three Kings and specifically the King Bank, but also the coast is firing pretty well out, and particularly around the North Cape, Parenga area.
Yeah, well, it's just incredible, mate, and it's really good. I was talking to a guy yesterday, Steve, from Tiara, and a friend of his has been out inside Mare Island, and I think 3 marlin in the past week out there, Rick, on live baits, up to 156 kilo stripey, so it's good to see it still happening.
Oh, sure. Well, we've got a India. Well, of course, today is a pretty rugged day up here, and I imagine it's not too dissimilar there. We've got a good 30 knots of northerly driving rain, but that's supposed to be all finished by tomorrow. And we've got at least going to salvage part of the weekend and get back out on the water possibly. But no, this is some great fishing, and we've kind of been alluding and predicting right through Bunge, and it's finally arrived.
Yeah. There's a big comp on up there at the moment too, is it? Hohora? It's got a one base on at the moment?
Well, you'd say that. It's a big comp, but unfortunately this year there's 28 boats in it, and I mean, You might remember, I mean, it used to be one of the top big 4 in the entire country, and it always had over 100 boats, 140 boats, and it's kind of shriveled down to this now. So I'm not sure what the future of it is, and I'm not really sure why the numbers are so low. Maybe because it's late in the season, but it's certainly not what it used to be. But those boats that are in it have had some pretty good fishing.
Do you find, just quickly, mate, on the coast, these guys have been doing quite a bit of live baiting and that sort of thing. Do you find this time of the year the live baiting seems to work better than trolling lures for some reason, or is it just that people happen to do a bit of live baiting late in the season?
Certainly does. Well, as you said, Mare Island, I mean, this is the time of the year, and in particular, northwest of Mare, kind of over towards Matamata.
Yeah.
That if you didn't have a live bait in the water, there's not much point being there.
Yeah.
So certain parts of the country really lends itself to live bait fishing, and that's one of the areas in particular in the Bay of Plenty. But up here, it seems to be a pretty even split. There was a few boats that were live baiting, and they did well. And by the same token, most boats were trolling, and it didn't seem like they were, doing any worse. So certainly, there's a whole lot going on with all types of techniques, really.
Absolutely, mate. I've got a bit of a theory on that one. I think most people have burnt $2,000 or $3,000 worth of fuel over the last few weeks, a few months trolling, and they just want to sort of idle back and do a bit of live baiting.
Well, that's right. And I mean, of course, the other thing to remember is, I mean, with lures, if you're doing more than 30-40% hookup to success at the boat, you're doing pretty well with lures. Whereas with live bait, if you're not doing 60-70% to the boat, you're doing something wrong. So
Absolutely.
Live bait, you're not only not supporting those fat Arabs, but you're also, getting a much better return rate.
Absolutely, my friend. Look, a pleasure to have you on the show this morning, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed your trip up there, and hopefully we'll catch up in person very shortly.
Okay, mate. All the best.
Good on you, man. Well, there we are, Rick Pollock. Awesome fishing around the place at the moment, and certainly don't put those lures away or that game fishing gear. When we come back, we'll head up to the Mercury Bay region, and what better way to wind the show up than catch up with a big fella up there on the Y, Johnny Elwood.
Got to say good day to Farmline, John Mayshall's across to do some painting with his sons. Great bloke. He gave us away that beautiful sprayer last year for Christmas, didn't he?
I just missed on that, didn't I? One number out.
You're one number off that sprayer that was putting on the farm bike. It didn't fit your farm bike, but you can go down to John and buy one.
I don't know if you have one to fit an old Honda trike.
Yeah, he might do. He's an old Honda trike bloke himself.
Say no more.
All the reaction and analysis. The All Sport Breakfast. Until 9 with Peter Kelly of Bailey's Real Estate. Trust a proven performer. Newstalk ZB.
Well, what a fantastic way to wind the show up and head up to the beautiful Mercury Bay region and catch up with the owner-operator of the good ship, the Y, where he might be having a lay day today, I think, if he's a wise man with the weather forecast the way it is. Good morning, John Elwood.
Yeah, hit the money on the head, mate.
Yeah,
Very wise
good man,
day,
good man.
on the couch.
Taking your lovely lady a cup of coffee and doing a bit of grease gunning, you can't beat it, mate.
No, true, mate, true. An R&M day.
That's the one, brother.
Day.
Hey, listen, last week we missed you, of course. I think you must have been up around the barrier, were you, John?
Yeah, I turned around straight away, mate, and shot straight back up the barrier because the weather was so good. And, some stunning fishing up there at the moment, eh? It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those places where at the moment it's just going nuts.
True. I'll tell you what, though, mate, when you watch that documentary they had on TV a while back there about the vagrancies and how bad the fishing is out in the Waitamatā and all those sort of areas around there, I don't know where they're getting their info from, because most recreational guys I talk to and skippers like yourself and that are doing very, very nicely, thank you.
Oh, yeah. It's a hard one, Bunch. You can look on their side of it and go, dumping all this stuff in the water and it's killing this and it's killing that, and the kinner are decimating the kelp beds, but it's an ongoing thing, mate. It's been happening for millions of years.
Exactly, mate.
That the kinner have been wiping out the kelp beds. 10 years later, that kelp bed is back.
Exactly.
And all the kinner are gone.
You know what, and I thought about it, you've been a diver and all sorts, and I've dived all my life and everything. How easy would it be to sort out the kinner problem around Little Barrier if all these dive shops in Auckland that are taking out their dive crews, when they do their sea dive, arm them with a bit of a rough tool of some sort, a little hammer or something, and say, right, your job is to go around here and smash all the kinner up, and you're feeding the fish at the same time and getting rid of anher problem. Wouldn't be hard to sort out.
You can't do that, Mons. You can't do that.
No, that would be far too sensible.
No, it's far too sensible. But hey, as long as they open up the quota and that for the kinner guys to go and get in there and take out a few 100,000 kinner.
That's right. Hey, look, let's get back onto the snapper scene. You were catching some beautiful snapper around the barrier, I understand, and right on the edges of the foul, John, or where have you sort of been targeting them?
No, hard and shallow at the moment. It's been quite surprising. Like, we've been right into about 5 and 6 metres of water. And it's been fishing really well. There's some nice fish on the edges, still on that sort of 15 to 20 metres out to 25.
Yeah.
Right on the sand and the edge of the kelp. That's still fishing very well. But a lot of the big fish at the moment are all coming out of 5 and 6 metres of water. So it's quite interesting that those fish are right up in there.
Hey, maybe they've been watching that TV show, mate, and they heard about all the kinner up in there, and they might be in there feeding on them.
Could be right too, mate. But amazing too, the amount of kingies that are around at the moment that are so hungry that they're actually up in the Burley Trail. Well, we got 3 or 4 nice kings over the week.
Nice.
Just out of the Burley Trail, just looking down. Holy mackerel! Look at that. Feed him a piece of squid. See what happens with a hook in it.
That's
wham! And
awesome.
they're 18, 19 kg kings.
Nice, mate. We've got to go, Johnny boy. Thank you very much for your time, my friend. We do appreciate it, and we shall talk to you again next week.
Right, Lions team.
Good on you, mate. There we are. Coming up, of course, Mintie, is the big sports hour.
Yeah, we have big show this morning. Waikato Club Rugby kicks off today, and we have David Fox in the studio.
Excellent.
And we have Mark Everson in the studio, and he's going to talk Thames Valley Rugby because he's done a bit of research. He's a fan of Waihi somewhere. Do you know where Waihi is, Bunge?
Marist will be trembling today, mate.
In their own boots.
Marist.
Marist, which Marist?
Are coming over to give them a bit of a tickle up.
Are they really?
I heard the rumour.
Oh, we got to look out for that. Hey, look, that's our show today for the fishing hour. Straight after 8 o'clock, we'll be back with Waikato's All Sports Breakfast, brought to you by Peter Kelly from Bailey's Real Estate. It is a Saturday morning. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day to wake up and be part of this beautiful world.